Pretty sweet, pretty sweet. I don't get around to 6 strings much these days, which happens. But anyway, I don't think I've ever shown you guys this guitar. That's a shame. This is my ESP Strat, and I'm going to tell you a little bit more about it, show it to you, and show you guys why it's so special to me. So thanks for coming back to Guitar Gear 1, and welcome to the Fancy Lad studio. So here she is, guys. This guitar is very, very near and dear to me, which may come as a surprise because if you know me, you probably know that I'm pretty much playing 7-string exclusively and have been the last few years, and I'm, as I mentioned before, about to go to 8-string. So this might not seem like a, something that you would have pegged me for, but the story is this, and just wanted to share it with you guys. Back in the day, if you can believe this, when my dad owned his guitar store, ESP was not nearly as prevalent a company as they are now. To give you an idea, they could only offer 2 pieces a month to a store for sale at the time. And before long, my dad found himself as the #2 distributor of ESP guitars in the United States, which obviously now you'd have to be like freaking Guitar Center to do that. But that's just how it happened to be, and he got to be pretty good friends with some people at the company there, and still is to this day. But anyway, as a gift, my dad was given this guitar by ESP, and if you look here, and this is funny, but that goofy little guy next to the ESP logo, that was the logo my dad drew for his store, and they laid that on for him, and they gave him this as a surprise gift, and it was very, very, very cool of them. This is a 22 fret single piece maple neck, abalone dot inlays. It is very medium, very small profile-ish frets. And we're going to talk about all that once I start playing it, but I just want to tell you a little bit. Body's made out of swamp ash, and if you don't know, that's the part of the ash tree that actually grows underwater. Very, very lightweight. Very lightweight, especially compared to like my 7-string zebra wood and my Les Paul, which we'll also get a review up here pretty soon. And some interesting tonal characteristics there too, which we're going to show you. I did, when I got the guitar, put a Seymour Duncan hot rail in the bridge position. We'll talk a little bit more about that. And boy oh boy, this is a guitar that I played all through junior high. In fact, I think I got this guitar from him in grade school. And you can see my Glassjaw sticker up there that I put on who knows how many years ago, and it's all worn away from my arm coming over the top, strumming for so long. But and I don't know how this is going to come up because of the white balance of my camera, but you can see how white like that, the border on that Kill Whitey sticker is. You guys remember ska, don't you? Yeah, well. Anyway, this guitar was like white when we got it. Well, more like a grayish white, but still, it is like nicotine yellow now. It is just seasoned through the years. Same thing with the neck. The neck has this really nice vintage tint to it. I'm going to pop out the trem arm really quick so I can turn it over, show you the back of the guitar. And I know this is running a little bit long, but it's just such a beautiful guitar to me. The wood grain is just awesome. And again, this is one of those deals where you hate to have these hypotheticals, but if the house is on fire and I can only grab one guitar, it really might have to be this one for me. Honestly, this is probably the most irreplaceable guitar. As far as ESP Strats go, I doubt they're even probably that expensive, but just so much sentimental value here. It's just my father's, and how that stuff goes. So anyhow, guys, I'm going to go ahead and flip her over, play some stuff. We're going to talk a little bit more. So like I said, guys, this guitar is just like sentimental city for me. I can literally tell you where like every single dent and scratch and little nick and everything like that came from on it. I've had it for, God, I don't know, longer than I'd like to think about, to be honest. But yeah, anyway, as far as comparing this to like a Fender guitar, like a Fender Stratocaster, the headstock's obviously quite a bit smaller. It's more like a Tele headstock size. The body is quite a bit smaller as well. It's not nearly as wide and spread out as a regular Fender Strat. The neck profile, to me, doesn't seem quite as flat and wide as a lot of Fender necks are. It's a little more curvy. It's not like a big chunky vintage neck, nothing like that, but it's just not as, like I said, flat and wide, really. Depending, it's a very vintage style guitar. The fret wire is very, I don't want to say minuscule, but there's not a lot of fret there. That's kind of like my only thing with it. And again, and just to put this idea in your head, depending on what kind of music you play, and if you're a modern player and you're playing strictly like metal or anything like that, then this won't appeal to you. But when you're putting pickups into something like a Strat, okay, the idea is you want to find a set of pickups that is very well balanced with each other. What I mean is, I was young and I wanted, you know, some gain. I was playing a lot of like punk and thrashy kind of metal. I was really into Slayer and stuff like that. So I put this Seymour Duncan hot rail in the bridge, which was a very good choice for that kind of stuff. It's a ceramic, super high output pickup, but it is not matched well with at all with these other pickups. So as you're clicking through the different positions, it's kind of like, you know, vintage, 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 oh my god, and it just, I mean, it's literally about twice the output of the other pickups, and it's just hilariously mismatched here. So when you're picking out pickups, just keep that in mind, if that's a concern of yours. But yeah, anyway, I guess that's kind of enough of the background of the guitar. Let's do a little bit of playing. So let's show you guys some sounds of a pretty uncommon guitar. In fact, I don't know anyone that has one of these, and I don't think I've seen them much on the YouTube. I'm gonna have to do a check after I post this video, but yeah, it doesn't really sound like a Fender guitar, which is cool, because I mean, who doesn't have, you know, a Strat, you know, if they're into that kind of thing. But I'm just gonna kind of walk you through some of the pickup positions. We're going to do what we always do on the channel, and you know, sit back, get comfy. So we're going to start off on the neck, single coil pickup. Really's got that mid-rangey, it almost sounds like the coil's split already, or it's out of phase already. You know, I mean, it's just nothing sounds like that. You know, I mean, it's. Still very, very musical, has that sustain when you want it. And you'll see very famous players talk about, if you're not a very precise player, you're not going to be able to hide on single coils on a Strat with a nice clean guitar tone. There's no, you know, extra noise being created that kind of masks some inconsistencies in your playing. So you're really under the, you know, under the hot lights, and everybody can hear what you're doing. So just something to keep in mind there. If we start combining coils, okay, so now we got the second position on, and we're combining both the middle and neck pickup. Started to get some more of these kind of sounds. That kind of the sound. If we go into the strict middle position, that kind of a deal. That kind of a deal. Here's where it's going to get really goofy. Once we go down into the fourth position and on, we got that bridge pickup going on. I'm telling you, it's about twice as loud as the other pickups. Still usable when blended, but so depending on how far away you're picking from that bridge pickup, really makes a big difference. And you know, anyone could say, well, that's all pickups. Yeah, that's true, but I mean, this is really extreme. I mean, it really, really is. You know, to me, that's like that Sultan's a swing tone right there, which I'm not going to play. But for those classic sounds, man, if you don't have Strat, you don't have that sound. So now we're just going to do some clean stuff straight up on this bridge pickup. It's already driving the head, yeah. Which is kind of a bogus thing to play, but you know, it's just to emphasize the point that it already sounds like there's an overdrive. When there's not, it's just that pickup, you know? folks, is why we play tube amps. That's why I still keep them around. That's why I haven't gone to the Axe effects yet. That dynamic. And again, that wasn't a cool thing to play, but the point is I hope that kind of captured a moment of real dynamics, whereby your own touch sensitivity, you know, how hard you're hitting the guitar, how much you're putting into it, you get a response. And that's why people have stayed away from tube amps or transistor amps. Jesus, you know. So I mean, we're going from, you know, you can go from this nice soft, all touch dynamics, all touch dynamics. So anyway, that's the first 5 positions of the guitar on clean even with this bridge pickup, pushing the front end of the amp so hard. Let's go ahead and do a whole bunch of dirty. So before we get into distortion mayhem, I thought we'd talk a little bit about grit. You know, before angle power balls, before like the JCM 800 head from Marshall, and if you don't know what that is, you're gonna probably want to find that out. There was overdrive. There was gritty overdrive. There was guys playing their guitars really hard. They were picking hard, and they were pushing those amps, and they were using overdrive pedals and things like that. But a lot of the blues guys and stuff, they're just pushing their amps, pushing their guitars, and getting this grit. And there's something about single coil pickups through a gritty amp that just has this glassy sound that if you like that sound, that's how you get it. So I'm going to show you just a little bit of that. So here we go. We got some overdrive going on in this angle power ball. In fact, it might be just a little hot, but here's how that sounds. So you get the point. You know, I just wanted you to hear a little bit of that. Another thing is too, and this isn't a related deal, but this amp head is just so gosh darn versatile. That's why I bought it. I bought this, and the reason everybody's buying the Axe effects is because it has so many different sounds, and I know, and believe me, I've been considering it, but for a tube amp, the angle power ball, I can't say enough nice things. So, and I mentioned that because I do get a lot of emails about it still, so there's my 2 cents on that. So while we got this gain on, I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys a couple little things. Like we're gonna play a little bit of like the Little Wing solo would be a good one. I'm gonna jump to the 2nd position. Okay, so that would be the neck pickup and middle pickup on at the same time. Just gonna play a little bit of it, you know. You know, these double stops, like we were playing before. Nothing else comes through like that. I mean, you know, Stratocasters and Telecasters are single coil pickups through amps that got a little breakup going on. That's that sound, man. Very, very cool sound. So we're gonna keep moving on ahead. You know, I don't know how many of you are actually interested in this guitar, and if you are more interested in this guitar, let me know. I'm happy to show a little bit more. Jumping up to some high gain, right? So, like I said, I bought this guitar. Oh Jesus! I was given this guitar. I was really into stuff like Slayer at the time, so I threw in this Duncan, and it sounds like a Strat that's trying to be a metal guitar, and they just kind of aren't. So let's just show you a little bit of that. This isn't standard tuning, by the way, you know. One of my old tunes I used to play with my buddy Robbie. Hey Robbie, if you're watching. So anyway, yeah, man, and I take that back. This thing is pretty freaking badass with that pickup in. You get so much of that. You get so much of that pick attack. You hear all that. Okay, so if we're gonna move around just a little bit, that's the bridge pickup, of course. Here's the neck. Do a little mischief with that. So much lower gain. That sounds freaking awesome to me. That sounds like a Strat to me. I mean, I love that. I mean, that sounds like a Strat, man. And again, I'm sorry, I haven't heard this guitar probably a couple of years, you know? Nothing like a guitar that you've had a long time that you can just tear on into, sit down, and just remember. I mean, I haven't played this guitar in a couple of years. Not like a few weeks, not like a few months, like a few years. I haven't touched this thing, and really gotten to play it through an amp. And you just start remembering those old things you used to do, and that's great. You know, it's a really great thing. So, you know, as sort of an unintentional side note, what I'm going to tell you is, if you ever find a guitar that you just, for whatever reason, have a kinship for, hang on to it. You know, a lot of things in life come and go, but if you could really form a relationship with an instrument, do it. So anyway, thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.